Are you hearing grinding in your knee that's associated with pain when you're exercising? Let's talk about chondromalacia. Hi, welcome back. I'm Dr. Jennifer Boney, doctor of physical therapy, better known as DocJenFit. And we actually have a full video on chondromalacia. So if you want to hear my husband and I break down this diagnosis a bit more, I highly recommend checking out that video. Now tell me, do you hear noises in your knee that is not associated with pain? Let me know below. Do you just feel like it freaks you out? There's something going on. We also have a video for this. This is called crepitus in the knees, and it's not anything to really freak out about. However, these exercises can still be supportive. I'm going to go over 6 exercises for you. 3 that really help the glute and hamstring connection, which takes a lot of pressure off of our knees, especially when we're having pain. And then 3 exercises I'm going to give you are going to be directly related to improving that quad strength and tolerance so that you can tolerate more pressure on your knee gradually over time. Now, before we get into it, I have to start by saying it's important to assess what's happening above and below the knee. So that means what's happening at our hip. Are we super restricted in our hips that could be putting a lot of pressure and tension at our knee, especially when we're doing exercise? I have a video I highly recommend checking out if you're unsure if your hip is restricted. This is called our hip popping video, and it goes through this awesome hip rotation test. Next, your ankles. Do you know that your ankles are super restricted, or do you feel like you always have to have like your heels lifted during exercise or squats? If your heel is super restricted, again, when we're doing exercise, walking, running, jumping, we could be putting a lot of extra tension into our knee, and it's just not very balanced. So if you haven't tested your ankle yet to even find out if your ankle is restricted, I highly recommend checking out that video. This is called Knee Pain, Test Your Ankles. After you've assessed both of those areas, it's really crucial that we take some pressure off of the knee, especially during a time when we're having a lot of pain and tension with that grinding. So this is when I recommend some of my favorite stretches. I actually have a video that goes over 5 best stretches for acute knee pain. So especially when you're right in that early stages of pain or that chronic overloaded pain, these are some exercises that you can do to help take some pressure and tension off of that, as well as foam rolling. If you want to foam roll prior to a workout or after a workout, foam rolling can really help to also take some pressure and tension off of that knee. Now let's get into those exercises. Strengthening those glutes and hamstrings and making sure we have good activation and coordination with those can really, again, help to take some initial pressure off of that knee. So this would be a good area to focus on so that you keep exercising and moving even if you're having knee pain. Now, grab a bench, a chair, an ottoman, a higher surface, and we're going to start with a hip 90-90. So this is just going to be kind of activation for our hamstrings, okay? So I'm going to drive my heels down into the bench. And when I do this, I should automatically start to feel some activation in the back of my knees, in the back of my hamstrings. Okay, so kind of feel if you can feel that. I'm not tucking. I'm not doing a bridge or anything like that. I'm literally just driving my heels down. Now, with this positioning here, put your arms out into like a goalpost position so we're not overutilizing our chest or anything. Press those heels down. Take a big inhale around that rib cage and belly area for me. Exhale and slowly blow out as you press those heels even further down into the mat. Do about 5 of these. Breathing in around that rib cage, letting that belly relax. Breathing out all your air. As you breathe out, again, drive those heels down even further. And do that again about 5 times. After that, automatically, you should feel those hamstrings start to fire up. Hopefully, you're starting to feel that. This is a great activation, especially prior to a workout or just during your workout. If you're really feeling a lot of aches and pains around that knee, this is a good way to take complete pressure off your knee and get your hamstring a little bit more activated. Now, to bump it up from there, I love to do heels elevated bridges. So scoot back just a tiny bit. Okay. We're really going to make those hamstrings and glutes now start to work together. So you're going to press those heels down. I like to turn the palms out. So again, I'm not utilizing my chest or overutilizing my rectus abdominis. Okay. So I'm going to press my heels down and I'm going to start to exhale using my core and tucking my tailbone under as I lift into a bridge. All the way to the top. And then you can either hold here for about 30 seconds or just slowly let it come back down and do that again. Exhale as you come up and tuck that tailbone under. Either hold here or nice and slow on the way down. And if you just do 10 of those, really good engagement, really good breath, tucking that tailbone under, as you come up, you should feel your glutes and hamstrings catch on fire. Again, if you want to progress that, you can always go to a single leg, but make sure it's under control. We would rather have the quality of movement be so crucial here rather than the quantity or how quickly you get it done. Last little one that can help take some pressure off of the knee is a hip thrust. Now, I have a full video on if you're getting back pain with hip thrusts to make sure to check out, but overall, we want our heels directly underneath our knees. And again, exhale as you come up, looking straight out ahead of you. Tuck that tailbone under and then come back down. Exhale. This is really going to help to lock in those glutes, keep those hamstrings up. And as long as our feet are not too close, that puts too much pressure on your knees and quads, and not too far, that's going to only make those hamstrings work. We really want to make sure we find that good sweet spot and you're able to tuck those glutes under, exhaling, controlling in that core as you come up. Okay. Even if you're using weights, this is a good place to be. And of course, you can always make it a little bit tougher or a lot bit tougher by using a single leg. Okay, now, even though squats and lunges and other things might hurt your knee, there are still exercises that you can do to start to load your quads and start to slowly put pressure onto your knees, hopefully without hurting it. And I'm just going to use a loop band here. So this is a resistance loop. We actually have these a part of our optimal body therapy kit. And within the kit, it comes with a lot of different resistance bands, resistance loops, sliders, and a whole low back plan that you can use with all the equipment. So check out that if you do not have resistance bands. Now, I'm going to put it, say my right leg is hurting. I'm going to step on the band with my left leg, and I'll keep my right leg straight. Now, I'm going to have my right leg is straight. My toe is up. I'm going to engage from that core. So I breathe in from that low rib cage, breathe out. Now, with my core engaged here, I'm still going to breathe and talk from that low rib cage, but I'm more engaged. Now I'm going to kick up and hold tension. So hold 10 seconds and then come back down. So rather than just repping, I want to hold 10 seconds. You want to get to the point where your leg feels like it's shaking and you can't really hold anymore. If the resistance band is too much at first, maybe you're doing it without a resistance band. The next level is to bend that knee. Now we're mimicking kind of a squat and a lunge position by putting some tension in a bent knee position. So now, again, with the core engaged, I'm going to kick my foot into that band and I'm going to hold. Again, 5 to 10 seconds here. You can see I'm already shaking just from having that quad tension in a bent knee position because I'm having to hold in a mid-range. You can experiment with bending the knee a little bit more, extending the leg a little bit more, and see what feels more comfortable or puts a little bit more tension. We don't want to go into pain, but we do want to go right before pain and where I feel my quad, my knee is working. Okay. So this is great to do 5 to 10 second holds, about 5 to 10 reps. You could do this as a warm up. You could do it as your workout. For this next one, I love using a foam roller against the wall, but you don't necessarily have to. It's just easier to find that spot where it's going to be working best for you. So I'm going to use a foam roller if you have access to it. If you don't, just lean against the wall. Now I have little weights here for my heels. Having the heels elevated is going to put a lot more quad tension into your knees. So it's going to make your knees and your quads work a little bit more. So we're going to find our sweet spot for you. Now, the closer your feet are to the wall, the harder it is. So if you're more standing in an upright position, it's a little bit tougher. So start with your feet slightly out in front of you just before, as you start to work on this and progress over time. So keeping your back straight against the wall, you're going to start to slowly lower. Your knees will come forward. We're putting tension. Find that spot that's like right before you have pain and hold. We're going to hold for at least 10 seconds. The goal is to work your way up to 30 to 60 seconds here, and maybe even a weight over time. Okay. Once you come out of it, come out. Okay. And then you'll work on dropping lower and lower. The goal here is to be able to come down into a full squat position, going past parallel with those knees going over the toes and coming all the way up. So eventually we can maybe hold a weight in like a goblet position and work on going all the way down, all the way up. But at first, all you're doing is working on an unloaded, just coming to your spot where you feel like, whoa, that's a lot of pressure on my knees. And I'm just going to start to hold. This is really going to work on building that quad strength and that overload on those knees to eventually get the knees tolerating more pressure going forward. The whole point of having knee pain is that we never want to avoid our knees going forward, because we're going to need to every time we go downstairs or walk down hills. So it's learning to build that gradually over time, which takes me into our last exercise, which is a controlled step down. So I'm going to use the foam roller here just for stability. So I'm not having to balance quite as much. You can use a doorway, a frame, a pole, whatever in front of you. And what you're going to do is you're going to think of this hip that's standing, pulling back, and your knee is going to stay right in line with your second to third toe. Now, the goal here as well is to make sure that your hip is not pulling down with that foot that's leading the way, and you're trying to say, oh, see, I got it. So we don't want to twist or dip in our hip. Our goal is to keep those hips pretty stable. So hip going straight to the back. You're just going to go as low as you can. If you can, you tap that heel and you come right back up. Again, that hip is going back. Those hips are staying as stable as possible. That knee is staying as stable as possible. You tap and come back up. If you cannot tap, you just go to where you can and you come right back up. And if you do 3 sets of 10 of these, oh man, go slow and controlled. You should feel those glutes lighting up, but is also going to work your quads. So we're getting that whole single leg stability working together to help to strengthen that knee. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.